Great. Good job. Congratulations. So proud. It's just, you knocked it out of the park and you ain't even playing baseball. That's a hockey stick. Such an impressiveness as this one is one with which I have no prior experience because nothing like this has ever happened before. Let's go through it step by step so that this experiment, this revolutionary boon you have inflicted upon humanity, can be reliably reproduced. It started 6 months ago. You bought a new sweater, stylish, sophisticated, avant-garde. You wore it to an event with your coworkers. It was the talk of the festivity. They made a speech much like the one I just made, but with regards to the socks your sweater had blown off of them. Kaylee, from Human Resources, still out there, combing the sidewalks of southern Arizona, looking for her socks. Posters on the telephone poles, have you seen my socks? In Arizona, they do things differently. They don't see socks down there. Translucency marks their every foot cloth, but you? Just happy to be along for the ride. Everybody was getting appetizers, you got one too. To share with Kaylee, but she was otherwise occupied. At Staples bulk printing sock photos. Ate the whole thing solo, buffalo wings, a little bit too spicy, but you played it cool. Like all the real alphas do. Pretended you wanted that burn in your throat across your tongue, wriggling into your sinuses, but don't sneeze though, because then they'll figure it out. They'll see through your ruse like Arizonan socks. Redistricting had been on the docket for your company for quite some time. Mr. Gill comes down. Impressed with your sweater, impressed with your wing consumption, says, Franklin, you gotta help us redistrict. You don't even know what that means, but you nodded with a sticky buffalo smile and said, Boss man, I'll district whatever you need. Boss man spikes a folder on the table, says, don't get sauce on it. Want this on my desk Friday morning. Well, fast frickety forward to Thursday night. No fancy sweater on you. That thing cost $143. And 29 cents. It stays in the closet until, you're probably never wearing it again. Tonight, you're wearing a polo shirt. Yeah, that polo shirt. The one you originally bought for a wedding you didn't think was that important. You slobbed it up. You brought the slum to the palace. Bride and groom looking at you like you just shot somebody. Maybe you did. You don't know you were losing track of time. Everything's skipping around. Franklin! The memories aren't cohering. You dangle cow poop. Not forming a proper narrative of what leads you from point A to point G. You've sung that song before, know those lyrics, can sketch together a reasonable theory, but that's not how you build a selfhood. Your stomach drops. You realize you don't know these people. They didn't invite you. Who invited you? You have the invitation. There's a man in the corner. It's an outdoor wedding. There's no corner. Somehow there's a man in one anyway. He's got short black hair, bristly eyebrows you could brush your teeth with if he cooperated. He winks at you and holds up a tinfoil envelope. You turn your head to look at the bride again, 'cause she's shapely. Turn back toward Bristleboy. Bristleboy's been replaced by an hors d'oeuvres. And every time you wear that shirt, things just go wrong, don't they? But what are you gonna do? Donate the thing? Pass the curse on to a less economically fortunate soul? That's bad. Don't do that. We should not donate our cursed objet. There's a bit of a social issue involved there, but also don't keep wearing it. Like, put a sticky note on it Hello, my name is Cursed. You realized what you were wearing just before lunchtime, found yourself ill at ease. Moments went blurry, went rogue. That accountant was definitely saying something about the redistricting folder, but the words lapped back against themselves, like waves, like reeds in the wind, like a liquid dog drinking its own neck. And now, it's 9 p.m. You want bed. Bed wants you. Bed's looking at you, a rose clenched in his teeth, edible lingerie, and a cat of nine tails saying, "Come on, sweetie. Come to me. Come to bed." And you're like, "Not right now, bed. I gotta figure out this folder." You open it up. The print job's all smudged. That friggin' printer is always You change shirts just to make sure. Papers are still smudged. Christ, there's even a bit of wing sauce on there. Gil even told you. Grab a paper towel, dab it, see if that helps. It does. You still don't know what the hell to do with the papers, but the sauce stain's lighter now. But you can figure this out, right? You know that districts are places, and you know that re-something-ing means doing it again. So you're like, we gotta build a place. Start imagining a city you've never seen before. No one's seen before. Parks with copper shrubs and nail polish water fountains. Pillars for curbs supporting flexible buildings tilted above the traffic. Membrane windows that overlook breathing roads with scabs for potholes. Strange prehensile elevators that take you from work to the restaurant to the bar and then back home. Kind of lose track of yourself again, and that worries you. It's never happened to you before. Not without the shirt on. By the time you commit to that all-nighter, you look down and the papers are done. No blank lines left. Really feel like you should have had an epiphany at some point in the process, but why look a gift job and then it's Monday? What happened Friday? That was a big day for you. That was folder day. Did you get promoted or fired or chastised or get a pat on the back from the CEO? Flew in from London just for you. Big tasty lollipop clamped in his teeth, but he's not licking it. He's pecking with the stick, drilling sap from the plastic plants in the corner. How'd the sap get in there? Strange well of guilt bubbles up inside of you. You don't know anybody in this office. You're clearly supposed to. You've worked here for years now. They seem to know you well enough. Become a little sleuth. An investigatrix. Sherlocking your home right across their boulevard. Who here seems like a secret sapper? None of them have it in them, do they? Too innocent. Too goody two-shoes, nose to the grindstone. Who has time anyway? Who has time to inject sap into fake plants? Maybe you do. Because some of that time just seemed to go away, didn't it? No traces in your memory, no footprints. You can't look back at the path. There was no path. You teleported here. And in those moments where you do lose yourself, where you look at the clock and it's 1, and you're like, I got time. I'm gonna watch cute parrots on the internet. And then it's 2:15, and you saw straight up 0 parrots, cute or otherwise. You're like, I read the clock wrong. It's not 2:15, it's 1:25. I just zoned out. It is 2:15. People are referencing conversations they had with you during that stretch. But here's the question. Here's the mystery that your Sherlock ass should be solving. Is that still you? No trace of the CEO. No indication any folder ever changed hands except you don't have it anymore. Mr. Gill's looking at you kind of funny, but he's one of those weird guarded administrative managerial types. Wears the opposite of his heart on his sleeve. Wears capillaries on his pants cuffs. So that could be pride. He could be like, I believed in this kid. I took a risk hiring you, Franklin. I took a risk giving you that redistricting project and it paid off. I look good to the board now. And you're looking good to me. Or it could be you are screwed because you suck. But I'm powerless to act on it because I suck for trusting you. I got the secondhand suck. It could be anything. You're hunting for clues most of the day. Not even really sure what you're supposed to be working on. No one's calling you on it though, so you're just gonna let it happen. Well, do you find clues? You find one. You find a strange sticky spot on the underside of your desk. And at first you're like, okay, this makes sense now. I pissed myself on Friday, repressed the memory. It's not pee, though. Smells kinda sweet, like some exotic fruit, like some place too sandy to grow things, but the humidity is enough, you dangle cow poo and a single seed from the ceiling, wait 2 weeks, and you could cater with it. So you're like, alright, I guess I didn't piss myself. I guess a very short person spilled anti-gravity fruit juice. This explanation does little to satisfy your curiosity. Time to grab that shovel, do a little more digging, Mr. Holmes. Or is it? Thursday, 3 weeks later. You wake up in a hotel. San Diego, it turns out. You ain't from there. Couple weeks prior, you would have guessed that was northern Mexico. Take a peek outside, find slow-walking clowns petting cow balloons. So that's nice. From your room, a seemingly interminable corridor eventually terminates in a banquet hall, where no one's eating but there are plates and everybody is an adult. Let's be clear about that. A fancy adult. Kids in boarding school, stockbrokers, photo in their wallet, know how to change a tie or know how to dress for a wedding. But they have crayons, and they're not using the crayons, they are simply holding them like cigarettes. And you can see all of the pictures that they aren't drawing, that they'll never draw because they're too serious. You glimpse their every denied artistic expression emanating from alternate universes where they were freer than this. And you weep, not because the pictures possess such beauty and mankind will never experience the absolute grandeur. I mean, it's friggin' crayons. Nobody's out there making Picasso look like a has-been with a box of the Crayola. It's just that they could be drawing, and they aren't. You leave them to smoke their crayons and find the elevator. Press the button for the lobby, or at least that's what you think you do, but what you actually do is you press the button that says L. Traditionally means lobby. You're like, alright, things are turning around. Hip hip hooray for moments of normalcy. And then the elevator starts going up, moving sideways, twisting and turning. Nausea sweeps over you. For a second you can taste those wings again. You and the elevator both start sweating. You claw at the door, but maybe it's the ceiling, but the ceiling wouldn't, and then it dings and the door's open. And you're in a lobby, so you get out like, cha-ching! Walk over to the window. Everything is sideways outside. Even the clowns. Even the balloons. The balloons have no idea what's going on. They want to reach toward the sky. They don't know what sky is anymore. Sky's over that way, but that way isn't up. They scream these horrified moos out of their mylar mouths, so high-pitched from the helium that's been crammed into their brains in place of their brains. All they can think is helium, and all they can feel is fear. And so they scream, and it's adorable. But it's still bad. You're not even sure how stepping works here? But all the same, you step outside. And 2 months later... Whoa. First off, it's never been that long before, has it? But 2 months later, you're back at work. Sap dripping from every one of your coworkers, and you recognize them this time. And that's worse, somehow. It's not even like these people are your friends, but you do care about them. If not just in that self-interested, my success depends in part upon their success mentality that comes with being a lifer at one company, unless they fire you for vanishing for long stretches and possibly losing an important project, or pissing your desk. You care. And they don't totally seem to mind that it's happening, but they are bleeding. They are bleeding the sap. You're out of breath and you don't know why. You say, I need to... You're cutting them off mid-sentence right now. I need to go speak with Mr. Gill. And they cock their head like that's just a weird thing to come out of your mouth. And now that you think of it, it is. And you don't talk like that. You would have said something like, hey, is Gill in? But you just said, I need to go speak with Mr. Gill. And you don't talk like that because you would have... You don't... But who are you anymore? Because now the absences are taking up more time than your presence, and you've been gone for months, and you might just be a different dude now. Who knows how you've been talking for the past 2 months, who you've been talking to, what you've been talking about, what you've been planning, what the other you has been planning with this life that used to be yours, and to which you now have some sort of, I guess, visitation rights. So during this stretch where you can, you decide you're going to speak with Mr. Gill. So you knock on his door, trail of sap running down from where others have knocked before you. He says, "Come in." A strange catch in his voice. You walk in, his lower jaw is distended on the sides, little pink bubbles forming, popping along the skin, and each time they pop, they holler something about the importance of cotton candy to the bikini waxing industry. You strive to shut those voices out. You say, "Mr. Gill, I wanted to check in with you about the redistricting. I think we might need to talk." Mr. Gill reaches, pulls open a drawer, pulls out the folder, spikes it onto the desk. You haven't seen this thing in a while. Well, I mean, for you, for all that you've seen in general, really kind of been a couple hours. But calendar says different. You grab that folder right on up. Mr. Gill is not saying a word. Mr. Gill's dead, isn't he? And just like animated by whatever these bubbles are. There's no sap coming out of him though. You open the folder and you barely recognize your own writing. You cannot make out your own writing, but you can, son of a bitch. Well, the rest of the text isn't blurry now. Can finally see what it says. Can finally see what it asked you to do. There are no breaks in your consciousness. But you don't do much of anything for a bit, so let's fast forward to last night. You're back in San Diego. Bought the plane ticket this time. Decent flight, too. Watched that 2016 Ghostbusters. You're in your hotel room. The bed looks at you, says, "Welcome back, Daniel." You say, "Hello, hotel bed. How are things?" Playing along like you're actually Daniel. The bed snickers a bit, says, "What you need is in the safe." You're like, "Cool. There a combination of this safe?" Bed says, "There's a combination to everything, Daniel. You just have to crack it." You spend legit no less than an hour and 20 minutes Googling how to crack a safe before you realize this one's digital and the instructions you found were meant for a cat burglar in the 30s. But you're like, if this is what life is now, let's just go with it. with full intent, you put on the polo shirt. 1. You type. 4. 3. 2. 9. Beep, beep. Green light, safe swings open. You reach in, tinfoil envelope. And you come to understand, not because you figured anything out, but because one of those pockets of memory that was never yours leaks a little bit, bleeds its sap into the rest of your being. Oh, you know what to do now. You dig out the laptop you always bring with you on business trips, even though this is definitely not one of those. You compress the foil into the disk drive, force it shut, run the .exe file, and then the redistricting is complete. And now, congratulations, again, to circle back, good job, etc. Everything's a little bit spinny, a little bit sideways, and the balloons hate you, my guy. And each and every one of us now gets to share in your gift. Gets to live like you. In a few minutes from now, or a few hours, or a few months, whatever, I'm gonna have no memory of saying any of this. And it's just great. And can I tell you the awful thing? Daniel, I'm not even sure I'm being sarcastic. Nice sweater, by the way.